What is up? We are back. It is the Dirty South podcast. We took a week off. We were all spread in different directions and just couldn't find the right time to get back together. But here we are. Jason with SE Wrestle, Brant with Kabra, and yours truly, Ward Wrestling. Man, guys, it's been a couple weeks. I'm glad to see you guys. Always good to catch
Hmm.
up. What you guys been up to?
You're up first, Brant.
Well, my wife owns a um, performing arts company. They had a temporary space in O'Galley here. It was a lot of space and had a lot of stuff in it, and I had to move it to two other spaces. And one of the days, I filled the 15-foot truck all by myself. So yeah, last Wednesday I was not in a space to do anything.
That's really not fair, too, because didn't you have six kids so that you wouldn't have to do that by yourself?
Five kids. We did it on I did it on a Tuesday.
Wow.
um, while school was going on and work was going on. And my one kid who could help me decline, that's a whole other issue. We don't need to get into that.
Decline.
Declined. Well, there you go.
No, and in the end, we ended up having a lot of people help me. It was just the daytime when people were working, but the unloading of the truck, we actually had a lot of help. But it was like a 4 day move from start to finish of getting everything out. So
The best job there is to be the guy in the truck during the unloading process.
I made by the end of the second, we filled the truck twice. And by the end of the second, that was all I had left in me was
Just to
the
Just
guy
drive
in
the
the truck
table
handing it
forward.
out
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
our 20 volunteers that came and helped, which that was fine. It
I
was
think
just
Jason was moving also.
I was my daughter's getting ready to move back from Charlotte, so that was a bit that was busy, but not like Brant's move. No,
No, but
my
I think you've made a couple trips though. Like
I have, yeah.
you tried
But
to bite it off in pieces.
yeah, but my biggest thing is just work. Just so much work I can't even see straight. So
yeah.
I am actually glad that it hit after wrestling season. Well, in high school season
High school
happened
season.
because I don't know that I would have been able to had the capacity to kind of do what we did during the season if it were happening now. So I
What
guess it's fortunate,
you had plenty of time to
busy.
let the governor and the senators and everybody, all the powers to be, that you will not be available from like July 9th to the 19th.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, we'll have to see whether Fargo is in the cards
As I
this year or
always
not.
say, well, you'll jump off that bridge when you get to it.
Last week for me, we had a few days of production just building out. I'm trying to build out some things to try to scale some opportunities. But I ended up heading down to South Florida, where I got to stop by the new SoFlo, which is home to Bear Wrestling Club now. With the Mater Lakes crew, opened up a club now off the grounds. So pretty cool place. It's literally you could throw a rock and hit the Hard Rock Hotel from their front door. And it was great, man. I got to go in there. I got to speak to the kids. I got to hang out with the team and what a super awesome spot they've got. And it's another great opportunity for kids in South Florida because you've got so many great clubs down there, and this is just another one that'll turn out excellent wrestlers. I mean, back-to-back state champions already came out of there, so um, they know what they're
See,
doing.
that's why this guy's liked by everybody. He
Yeah,
goes and he hangs out and chills and
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I don't,
And
and
Oh
I
yeah,
don't,
it's that other guy that
yeah,
does
and
I
he
don't
doesn't
rank,
do
he
rankings.
I
doesn't do
don't, and I don't
rankings, and
rank the
I'm the one
kids.
putting out the way too early rankings, and
Yeah, yeah.
you're
So it was cool, and then
you
I
could
headed
switch.
down.
I'll go hang out with people. You can
Yeah,
do these for a
I
couple
went
months.
down to Miami Ribs with Coach Nick from FCS. He's got a barbecue place down there that he's partners. He and his family are partners with, and
Yeah, Brant, you picked the wrong side of this.
What, there's
yes,
barbecue? I didn't have any
Yeah, he's hanging out
barbecue
and
while I was
having
doing.
barbecue.
barbecue. Yeah,
You're getting emails.
they got this big rib that's insane. And I hung out there for a few hours, and then the next morning I woke up and I was at Southwest Miami High School at 7 a.m. in the morning, 7:30 a.m. in the morning, and then I did media days for their cheer team, their track and field team, and their flag football team.
Wow,
Yeah,
nice.
shout out to Mick and Zach, who Zach Sherman was and Mick were they had kids in the wrestling room, and they came by and said what's up to me because they knew I was in the building. It's good to see them. They had a lot of kids are getting ready for the U.S. Open coming up next, not
Well, I
this.
mean, honestly, they're getting ready for so many things. I mean, you had
Yeah.
NHSCA's just happened. You got Women's Nationals. You got U.S. Open. You've got in Florida. You got Father Divine, right? Like getting
And next week we have the Kings and Queens, which is
right,
going to
Kings
be
and Queens.
fantastic.
I
That
mean, in
event.
Florida this weekend is really when everything kind of starts picking up as far as off-season stuff. There's a
Uh,
ton of events in relation to Father Divine. The
yeah, the
the
TOFs.
preliminary events. There's a whole bunch of those this weekend. There's some folk style stuff. It's really starting this weekend is like the Florida off season as far as like events here. You got the NHSCA's, you had Easter. Now you're gonna just see people competing nationally, locally. It's a great time uh for kids who may have taken the last couple weeks off to get back out there, and then obviously the ones on the chasing the higher goals are traveling. I mean, there are people traveling last weekend. I saw on my social media lots of people traveling this weekend. So
Yeah, and
Yeah.
one thing that because we skipped last week as we were all busy, we just explained, but uh shout out to RAF and shout out to Florida. I know we had a lot of kids that were at NHSCA. I mean, we had I think I looked at the numbers over 350 kids in Florida that were competing at the NHSCA. Um, and we still filled the building. So shout out to Florida for showing up for RAF. The camp that they did on Sunday,
I saw the Facebook post on that.
200, 200 kids, 250 kids.
that's
Uh,
awesome.
Connor Beebe, cool moment watching him wrestle and get on the stage and do his thing. There were no fights this time. Um, so
It
that
was
was
kind of one-sided this time.
yeah, yeah. I think Mr. DeJul or Giorgio got taken down. I think it's legit takedown this time. Um, so he went to flight school and that was
Yeah,
that.
he
But
did.
man, great. And shout out to all those guys like to Julius and the whole crew and Dake and Henshaw and I could keep going through it, BB, but they all went over and participated in that camp for the kids, and it went well. So
Yeah.
shout out to everybody there and Chad and Izzy and what they're doing and good for them. But yeah, that was cool. And thanks for Florida, showing up and doing their thing because we want
Well,
wrestling to keep doing their thing.
Well, and while that was happening in Florida, like you said, a bunch of Floridians headed north. So did kids from Georgia and Alabama and across the Southeast, all headed to NHSCA's, and that's where we're going to spend the bulk of our time talking a little bit about their runs. Because I'll be honest with you, the level of competition. I mean, you can just look at the girls' side, and I'm going to do a quick rundown. But I mean,
Sorry, hold on.
any place where Willow White takes third
Yeah.
in her bracket, you've got a tough bracket. I mean, that's just the way that works. So, um, but a quick shout out, real quick, before we jump into some names. North Carolina. We'll start with the girls, if you guys are good with that,
Yeah.
since we were there. Um, the North Carolina girls, man, I think they had like 10 All-Americans, two champions. Florida had, I think, nine All-Americans. Is that right?
Nine champ. Oh, on the girls' side.
Yeah.
I was just looking at my
One
headline.
champ, right?
One champ,
Um, um,
Paola Perez with
Yeah, Paula Perez.
yeah,
a
she was,
dominating performance.
yeah, she was impressive.
Pins in all but one match.
Yep.
Won the final in a minute '08. Um,
South Carolina had five girls who made the podium. Alabama had three girls make the podium. Georgia had three girls make the podium. So it was nice to see. Tennessee had one. So the Southeast was really well represented. North Carolina, just to give a shout out to them real quick before we go to Florida. Um, you had two girls who just, I mean, when you have two champs, you're doing pretty darn well. So Taylor Williams and Rylan Keza both won their brackets at NHSCA's for North Carolina. But I'll tell you what, if we look at two Florida, I mean, it's kind of a list of who's who for the Florida girls on this. And you know what? This just tells you again how good the bracket was. I mean, you got Willow taking third at 132, and you just have a whole list of just really, really top girls. Let's go kind of down them real quick. Brant, who did you notice?
Yeah, I mean, we nearly had a state final rematch. Rebecca Marin also reached the semifinals at 100 pounds, ended up finishing fourth. And then you had Zinab Morad of Douglas, who was our state runner-up at 235, made it to the third place match there. Continues to uh, develop her bulk style wrestling. Grace Jawalski managed to finish fifth place. Tech the girl in the fifth place match. Lila Kastner, who did not compete in the state postseason, finished in sixth place at 145. Ariana Bryan of Terravella, another state finalist we had this past year, she finished sixth uh, at 185. And then you had Alexandra Thomas of Cooper City and Michaela Ocean of Archbishop McCarthy. They both finished on the podium. Pretty impressive. And I mean, I watched a fair amount of these girls and a fair amount of the guys and some other matches and then just watching the finals. Like you said, this tournament was tough.
Well,
I
and
mean,
especially for
just
the girls. I mean,
yeah,
you know,
because they're all,
I mean,
all grades,
yeah,
all
all grades
ages.
are kind of combined into one. I mean, when you have somebody as good as Callie Rodriguez, who, goes what 4-2 or five and
Yeah.
two and doesn't make the podium, it just goes to show you how tough it is. What'd you notice, Dan?
Oh, I thought it was great. Obviously, with Paula Perez and Rebecca Marin were in our state finals, right? And they took first and third in that weight class. And how good does that show for Florida girls, where they just went to a national high school tournament and first and third was Florida, right?
I mean, we put three girls on the podium at 100. You have Alexandra Thomas,
Hmm.
Cooper City, finishing
Cooper
eighth.
City and a Fargo alum who spent some time up there. So you know,
Yeah, and she didn't even her region was so tough. She didn't even make the state tournament this year. She lost in the
yeah,
flood
that's
round
right.
because
Because
she
she
had to.
shared the region with
Her region
Perez
was
and
loaded with the one and two finishers and Lydia Gonzalez, Kaylani Hausenauer. Like so, and she's eighth in the country in this tournament. The depth of the girls 100s in this state was definitely on display there.
We saw Jaworski make another good run at another tournament. Um, yeah, again, a tournament where Willow White takes third is a tournament that is probably pretty good because she is not bad.
yeah, well, and I'll tell you the girl she lost to, I think it was the semis that she lost from West Virginia, I believe. She she's a stud. So I mean that was impressive.
Yeah, and I
Shout
think we
out
looked
to
her up. I think you and I we looked her up.
yeah. And she was ranked like what, fifth or something nationally?
Yeah, in the country. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we were
Um
like, how is Willow not the one seed? And then we looked her up and we're like,
well, and
okay,
there you go.
and there we go.
Shout out to Serenity State, also out of South Carolina. She won an NHSCA title for the state of South Carolina as well. I'll tell you what,
Didn't Little Higgins All-American too?
Little Higgins did All American. Yeah. She took eighth. She took eighth.
Yeah.
And again, just an example. I mean, that's a knockout
Knockout
champ,
champ.
right? Who she was up at 107. She wasn't down at 100 for this, so she took eighth. Ella Hughes, also a knockout champ, took seventh at 132 pounds. And I'll tell you what, there's a stud in Kara Mitchell out of Mount DeSales in Macon, who finished fourth at 107 pounds. She is, I believe, a sophomore. She might have been an All-American in Fargo last year. She's tough.
That's crazy. You were just talking about 107. there was three knockout champ. Jaworski won knockout too, and she
Yeah.
American at 107. So there was three knockout champs um in there. That's wow. Yeah, that's it just shows you. I mean, knockout is I was talking to a kid over a couple weekends ago and he won a state title in his state. And I said to him, well, how does that compare to the knockout? He goes, I don't want to talk about the knockout. And I said,
Yeah,
okay.
it happens. It happens. I'll tell you what though. There are a lot of kids who went, and obviously we're not going to list. I mean, because the sheer number of kids is just huge. But, um, but going up there, I mean, it's actually it's not dissimilar to a lot of the really big tournaments that you go to. Like, I mean, going 5-2, going 4-2, battling and getting yourself, through Saturday or part of Saturday and everything else. I think it's a huge win. It's a huge testament. I mean, yeah, you want to be an All-American. Yeah, you want to be a national champ. But if you are a young wrestler and you're getting wins at this level of a tournament and getting to, the deep rounds of the consolation side, I take that as a win. So,
Yeah, I don't disagree. Well, and of course, unfortunately, I've never gotten to experience NHSCA. The one year that we were going to go, my son was injured, so we didn't go. But um,
It's amazing how much they get out of there so quickly.
yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
Although
it's like, I mean, I know they don't have to adhere to like the same
well, and they have
matches
two
in a day
warehouses
rules and
filled
and
with
those kind of things.
mats. Don't they have two center?
it's just, I
Dang.
mean, it's a circus. I mean,
It's
it's
insane.
just huge.
Yeah.
I mean, if we were to put together a team to go up there to try to cover it, I mean, it would literally be a team. You'd have, photographers everywhere trying to be able to
And that's if
even
you
get
can figure
coverage.
out how to get approved.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks, Dan. All
But
right, so
yeah,
let's jump
I
over.
didn't get approved either. Don't worry. It's not just you. Um,
Let's
uh,
jump over to the freshmen. You good with that?
yeah, whatever you guys want to do.
All
I
right. So leading the way, if you did read any of the overviews I gave, Pennsylvania has a strong presence in the freshman division. They continued that this year. They were very impressive. Florida equally impressive on the boys' side, the freshmen, 7 All-Americans. Georgia finished with 6 All-Americans. North Carolina had 4. Alabama had 1. Um, but this was really dominated by Pennsylvania. Still, we focus in on the Southeast, and man, I'll tell you what, Howard Hill had himself a tournament.
Say one Pennsylvania wrestler didn't win a state title or a national title because that was won by Howard Hill. St. John's Country Day beat Lucas Drake 8-3 and a national title. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And honestly, Hill did it the way like I kind of expect it to be done, and that is winning some tight match, like
Decisions and
dominated
yeah,
early, but one tight matches kind of as you got
yep.
to the quarters and as you get to the semis and that sort of thing. And then honestly, I watched Lucas Drake actually wrestle earlier in the tournament, and I mean for Hill to get an 8-3 win was super impressive. So,
yeah, I
other
I thought
All-Americans in the state of Florida.
yeah, I thought Ethan Riley really impressed me. He went through brackets. He took third, I believe, at 126,
Yep.
but he had to wrestle Nagib from St. John's, who's tough and is getting better and is just wrestling tough. He had to wrestle state champ Lucas Barrios on the way. Um, he wins the
I
third
mean,
Promotion
126,
semi.
Florida went 2-3-4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Although we could have seen that in when we were looking at the pre-seeds and like the
yeah,
preview, we knew that was going to be a good weight for Florida.
yeah,
Yes.
and I'm just happy for the young man. He was a young man that was with us when he was just a sixth grader over at my son's school, and for high school, he's gone over to Lake Highland Prep, and he's been wrestling in their club, and you can just really see the levels that he's jumping, and to take third at NHSCA, I'm just happy for him and his family. That was that's one kid that I am. Glad to see he's doing well.
Well, and honestly, Lucas Barrios and Jalal, I mean, again, the future is bright. Particularly I'm not at 126. They're obviously all going to spread out and that sort of thing, but all three of them wrestled extremely well.
Yes.
So,
You
um,
got a
other All
Florida
Americans for the
Georgia,
state of Florida.
a Florida Georgia match for seventh place with Velez and Nichols. Little
Hmm.
Southwest action there.
And one of the things I like about watching, one of the things that I think is super good about the NHSCAs, and that is you have freshmen who might sit down in Region 4 in Florida or might be in a particular place, and they're still they're still trying to figure out how to win those big matches and kind of get onto the big stage and do all these sorts of things. But in comparison to other wrestlers that are of the same grade as them, they can show out. And that just
Mhm.
tells you that they're going to be super, super tough in the future.
Yeah, I
And
mean Bryce Velez region qualifier this year as a freshman, but 190 pounds. You get here with a bunch of 190-pound freshmen, and now you get a chance to really kind of see where you are, and he ends up on a podium.
absolutely, it's a whole other story. I mean, if you're a 190 pounder as a
As a
freshman,
freshman, yeah,
and you're going up against, I mean, Peter Mako or, I mean, I know he was 215 this year, but I mean, it's just one of those situations. I mean, that's a tough deal when you're wrestling juniors and seniors at that weight.
yes,
So, Kane Drake took fourth, and actually lost to fellow Floridian slash Baylor,
sort of Floridian.
Baylor, Tennessee, Riley Alcantar. And if you don't know, I was actually watching Riley throughout the tournament, and I think he finished 10-1. Okay. Because Riley was one of the individuals who won like a match or two on day one and then lost, and then ended up winning like, I don't know, 8 matches on Saturday to make third, fourth.
Yeah.
It was like crazy. I mean, I like, whoo, whoo. Ooh. Any other Floridians that you saw that kind of did well?
On freshman?
Yeah,
No, I'm over to sophomore now.
you're already over to sophomore. Well, before we go to sophomores for the Florida kids, I want to make sure that we give a shout out. Again, Araya Mills, simply dominant. I mean, just not even close. Nobody is even touching him. I mean, he's so good. Cam Dotson, from Jefferson High School, took fourth. Antonio Ruiz, Walker Woodard, Isaac Young, who made the knockout semifinals, was fifth at 120 pounds for the state of Georgia. And then you guys obviously mentioned Luke Nichols as well.
Are we going to see Araya at the U.S. Open?
I think we are.
Because there is the lineup of high school kids that are going to the U.S. Open. Oh my God. If anybody's listening to this and you got a room, an airplane ticket, and some food for me, call me.
The food that might be the deal
Yeah.
breaker.
Yeah. I'm in. Um, that would be awesome. Yep.
As we jump to the sophomores, we will lead it off. Man, the state of Florida, impressive.
Wow. Wow.
Impressive, right? Only Ohio had the same number of champs, had a few more All-Americans, but man, I'll tell you what, three champs from the state of Florida. Let's kind of break their down or their tournament down and what you saw. Dan, why don't you start us off?
Listen, it ends up with Ilya and Timmy Boda in the finals, with Ilya taking that one. Um, wow. The next one, Colton Bell, and him winning 1-0 to take the championship there. And then Silverfield with a fall at 3 minutes and 33 seconds, not a fall, whatever, tech major. Um, 12-2 win. All these three guys come through a very, very, very tough tournament. You guys can break it down further from there, but shout out to those three. The one that is Ilya the one that comes out of the because there's two brothers, but one of them comes out of that one weight class down in Region 4 where they sometimes they don't even make the state tournament because it's so tough. Is
That
Ilya
was his brother.
that was his brother, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
Ilya is the state champ from last year who got injured
Hmm.
in the region tournament this year, and ended up not even wrestling in the state tournament. He
That's right.
medically forfeited, and I talked to the coach. I can't remember exactly what the injury was, but I mean he could be, he would at least been in a battle, to win a second state title. Um,
I think he would have been the favorite to win the
I
state
mean
title.
he lost coming into it to the eventual state champ Stefano Garcia
Yeah. Okay.
in the
Fair enough.
regions, but he got hurt in the regions. So, um, but healed up. I know Timmy Boda is dealing with an injury also, and then you get these two guys that are dealing with injuries, and then they reach the finals at the NHSCA's. Imagine if they're both 100%. Um, but yeah, Ilya is the sophomore, and obviously, and but would have could have been a two-time state champ. The brother was the one at the higher weight class
Yeah, and then how about Colton
or
Bell?
the lower one, whichever.
Tell you what, man, Lake Highland Prep looks pretty tough up top.
Yeah, 220 and 285.
Darn right. I mean, we knew, like, let's be honest, we knew they were talented. I mean, we watched Silverfield
Yeah.
Russell last year at Bowl or 2 years ago at Bowls. Colton Bell coming in from out of state and everything else. So we knew they were going to be good, but they've been wrestling at Lake Highland Prep against that level of competition
Yeah.
as freshmen or as sophomores. I mean, it and they've been losing some matches.
But
And
in Colton Bell's defense, I mean, he's been with Mike now since he was like a little tiny boy. Because I remember being in the club 6 years ago, and he was just a little thing in there.
oh, is
So
that right?
even though
I thought they
Colton,
moved in from somewhere when he
they
was in
might have
middle
moved
school.
in when he was very, very little, but
Maybe I'm wrong. Okay.
but yeah, I mean, I think they're from PA to begin with, original, um, but he's been with Mike since elementary school. So um, really to see, and obviously he went from being like 4 feet tall to 6'7" and 220 pounds, and that helps too, right? But he is somebody that I know people want to say what they want to say about out of state stuff, but I think this kid, he may have been born somewhere else, but I think he was raised by Lake Highland Prep.
The thing that stood out to me, at least for the Floridians, was at 138 pounds. The fact that you had Ilya and Bruce Lee both make the semis down there. Ilya takes that win 8-3. Boda then draws Manley from Oklahoma, wins a tough, tight match 10-8. And I expected a tight match in the finals. And then I think if I remember correctly, Ilya like got a takedown in the
He
first
jumped
period
out
and then
quick.
immediately got like a near fall
Yeah.
and like really separated himself
Yeah.
from Boda.
And then it was pretty even, maybe the rest of the way, but that early lead was just kind of set the pace for that
Yeah,
final match. He did
and of
jump
course,
out quick and score quick.
my favorite name in Florida wrestling, Bruce Lee. Hiya.
I'll tell
Uh,
you what,
he
Bruce
had a
looked
good
great.
tournament.
Yeah,
He
wrestled very
beat
well.
a kid on the way to the semis. He beat a kid that had beat him previously, and he's really getting a lot better. And
Well, and let's talk. Let's before I go to another state real quick with the finishing up the sophomores. Let's talk a little bit about Rocco Ruiz because Rocco, who obviously had a disappointing end to his high school season. I know he was banged up as well, but the fact that he comes back and at 160 pounds, man, climbs onto the podium is that's an impressive run by him.
yeah, I'm very impressed too because if you know what he's been through this year with his injuries and everything that has taken place, um, to see him get himself together and make a run at NHSCA is good. I know he was in some pain going through all that, so I'm glad to see
Here,
him.
here's a kid wrestled 144 all year and he's 160 at
I know.
NHSCA. That kind of puts a few weight classes on notice. He might be, or I would say definitely be moving up a few more weight classes this year to terrorize some of those weight classes.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
rounding out rounding out the sophomores, just give a little shout out to the rest of the Southeast. huge win, huge run by Xavier Mance to win it for the state of Georgia at 132 pounds. Xavier, man, just he's super dynamic. I don't know if you guys recognize the name, but his brother Chris Mance was a four-time Georgia state champ. Xavier just won his second as a sophomore. Now he is on his way to winning four as well. And then, in my opinion, one of the best in the state of and not just the state of Georgia, but in the entire Southeast, and that is Harrison Murdoch. Harrison is now a two-time NHSCA champion, won it as a freshman, won it as a sophomore. And I'm telling you, if you look through his thing, not close. Okay, pin in 107, pin in 12 seconds, pin in 40 seconds, 21-5, 19-3, 18-1 in the semis, 9-2 over a Pennsylvania kid in the finals. Harrison Murdoch is that kid. He is super, super tough. Derek Kiefer, who made this knockout semifinals, took fourth at a 106. Wyatt Womack, Cody Dean, and then one last kid. There's a couple other kids from Georgia that I missed as far as made All-Americans, but I want to make sure that we recognize Gary High out of Tennessee because he won an NHSCA title at 170 as well. So good run, and man, I'll tell you what, Florida is looking good as far as putting kids on top of that podium as sophomores. Jumping to juniors, we kind of see a little bit different. Not Florida still put quite a few on the podium. Five, six, eight. What is it? Eight?
8 kids on the podium.
But
Nobody in the
but towards the
finals.
bottom of the podium.
Yep, nobody in the finals in that one.
Nobody even in. Well, yeah, one in the
One
conference
third
finals.
place, Vlad Tchaikovsky. Um,
Yeah.
5 kids in the fifth place match, and 3 of those won. But yeah, I mean, and we're talking like state champs. Lazaro Soto, Reed Yakes, Mason Basile, Kyle Gallo, who didn't wrestle in FHSA this year because Zephyr's Christian was ineligible, but he ends up on the podium there. Reyes from Jensen Beach, all those guys in the fifth place match. And then you have Kaspikian, Lake Gibson, Tice Cole, Jefferson, both reaching All-American status, but no champs, no finalists in the juniors, so that has some work to do.
Well, it's not even that they. I mean,
I know.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
It's
the
the
truth is,
toughest weight class. It's the toughest.
yeah, it
division
is the
there.
toughest
The
division.
juniors is the hardest one to win there.
It is. It is. NHSCA is like. I mean, we can talk about. We can talk about freshmen or seniors or whatever the case is, but the depth, even the number of registrations.
Yeah, the deepest, the toughest, the most
significantly more
motivated weight class is or division is the juniors at NHSCA.
Well, and it's also the first time that, junior year is when the college coaches can talk to them. Junior year is when they can really get looked at and have an opportunity to make a move to where they can get to a college. And so I think there's a lot that goes on there, right?
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it on the preview for this. The also just when you're a senior, there's so many different directions you may be going, and some of them are at the direction of their future college coach on where they're going, and certainly different choices, different risks that they'll take, or different mindsets that they're in. So you just don't get as many that come out of seniors. You may get better, like some really great wrestlers in the senior, but junior is the depth because so many of them are not committed or have gotten that far in the process, so they're trying to make their mark, and that's kind of the difference there.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, they can be in a situation where a college is looking at a particular weight class, and they can prove that they're kind of at that weight class, and then this kid who's being recruited by such and such, I just beat him, and so on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a lot of opportunities. Seniors are pretty much much more locked in as far as that goes. But like I'm going to throw it out there. Jasper Kroom, KJ Vasquez, there's a number of really, really good individuals
Yes.
who didn't make the podium at in the junior division, not because not because they're not that talented. The depth in terms of the number of individuals in the junior division that will end up wrestling at a D1 institution is significant.
Yes.
So that actually should give you that much more of a nod to the Vlad
Yes.
Tchaikovskys. I mean, the fact that Vlad took fourth, really, just an impressive run by him to make the Conci finals.
I mean,
Um,
he's a two-time state finalist in Florida. Uh, Ran into South Dade kids each year, I believe. Um, but yeah, going up there and finishing fourth ahead of your senior year, that's quite a way to kick off your spring, summer, postseason, however you call the next few months, and kind of get your name out there.
yep. All right. So I'm gonna jump over to the state of Georgia. They had four that made the podium. Um, let's see here. Cohen Hargrove, who's now won, I think, two Georgia State titles. James Severs, who lost to Timmy Boda in the knockout finals on a last second takedown, took seventh at 138. William Childs for Athens Christian. And then John Gill, who also wrestled at the knockout, um, took third at 220. Both all impressive runs by those individuals from the state of Georgia. Alabama did not have anyone that made the podium. North Carolina had a few kids make the podium. South Carolina had a few kids down at the bottom end of the podium as well. It's really interesting to me, and this is where we kind of Tennessee is a good example of this because some Tennessee teams they've already shifted. They're already in freestyle mode.
Yeah.
So NHSCA is not nearly as important in their kind of cycle and in their schedule as it is them getting ready for US Open or them getting ready for USA Wrestling Duels or Fargo or everything else. So you're missing different kids, and I'm sure that's the same in the state of Florida. Where some places they want to get focused on freestyle, they want to get
Mhm.
going on it. So anyway, all right, jumping to the seniors. What did we see from the great state of Florida, who had quite the event? And you know
Three
what?
of
This
them.
isn't unusual for state of Florida, for seniors. The
We
the
do well
senior
with our
class from
seniors
state
go
of
up there, do
Georgia
well.
or state of Florida really shows up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you and I were talking about the pre-seeds, we
Hmm.
saw two kids, Charlie DeSena and is it Blake Sly?
Bentley Sly.
Bentley Sly. And we saw them seated one and two, and they made it to the finals. Well, Sly likes to slap faces and slap heads and do all that crap that he does. And Charlie DeSena said, okay, well, then I'm just going to ankle pick you and pin you because I don't want to get slapped in the face anymore. And Charlie DeSena grabbed him by the ankle and pinned him. And that was that. But Bentley Sly, and obviously I say this in jest. He's a tremendous kid. He's a great kid. He's a great wrestler. He's awesome. They've wrestled before, but he was doing a lot of that aggressive slap to the face stuff, and Charlie decided that was it. I actually texted Charlie and I was like, "Hey, what happened? You got tired of getting slapped in the face, so you hit an ankle pick and pinned him?" And he texted back, "Pretty effective."
Well,
And
you know what was pretty effective was, Lake Highland Prep and
yeah,
their presence in this senior bracket. I'll tell you what, we're going to talk about some of their kids, but man, that's an
yeah.
impressive group. And you know what's to me one of the
Zeno
things
Moore
that's
and
most
Nafshi
impressive.
too, right?
I'm sorry.
Zeno Moore and Nafshi also, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and the thing that's pretty impressive is that these kids they've already established where they're going. They know
Yeah.
where. At least Zeno I know he knows where he's going.
Well,
So
Charlie's going to Penn.
Charlie's going to Penn. So they're just continuing to wrestle. I mean, this was just them having a great time continuing as a team to be together and continue to compete. So, um, what
I
else
mean,
did you see, Brant?
four Lake Highland Prep seniors in the finals of in three finals. You had teammates going at each other in a final. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Well, and Jackson Angelo, right,
Yeah.
second there. Yando Morales, third there. One individual, Clint Plotner Legg, who seemed to, uh, it seems like he's been around the Lake Highland Prep program for quite a while,
Yep,
and and just always seems to kind of fall in that area where there's like just a ton of studs within their lineup.
correct.
But the fact that he goes out and takes fifth, that's impressive as hell.
Yeah, shout out to Clint there. I was really happy to see that. He's been working hard and really happy for him.
There's in Florida wise, there's three big weekends
Gary
um
Mendez, right?
of kids that had a bitter taste leaving
Mhm.
Kissimmee, and Blake Elder, who was expected to be in the finals and had wrestled, he and yeah, he had wrestled well all year as number one. He lost in the quarters or the semis, like a shock loss there
Yeah,
in the finals. He placed fourth here. Daniel Dom of West Boca, who was DQ'd in the semis. He was up 8 or 9-1. Uh, it was ruled an illegal throw. He got DQ'd out of that. He goes up here, finishes in fifth place. And then Caleb Gauthier for Palm Harbor University, who just really disappointed himself. I just because I've seen his posts. Um, was expected to have a great weekend, and then comes up here, and I believe he lost early, and then just
he did.
roared through the consies, gets to finish the high school portion of his career on a podium at NHSCA's. Just fantastic jobs by Blake, Daniel, and Caleb
Well, and
to
how
kind
about
of finish their senior stuff with a much better taste in their mouth.
yes, and then somebody that continued to build on his senior season was Gary Mendez.
Yes.
Comes off
Hmm.
a state title and goes up here and All-American. So, shout out to him and yeah, but obviously, when you look up and down this thing, you see Lake Highland Prep, Lake Highland Prep, Lake Highland Prep, and obviously we know what Mike and his team are doing down there is great, and shout out to them.
So Brant, you were right. Caleb, if I remember correctly, Caleb Gauthier, I think he lost his first match
Yeah.
at NHSCA's, and I think he won like six or seven in a row to make his way back onto the podium. So that's that again. I don't know the mindset, right? But I do know that you didn't have the weekend you wanted in Kissimmee, and then you lose your first match at
You won
NHSCA's.
six straight matches after that loss. And you have to think at that point, fighting off that doubt that you must have after um, really a shocking to me performance in Kissimmee, and
Yeah,
then you go up there, but then you bounce back, and on the way you beat Kellen Messina. Um,
yeah, by a point, right?
yeah, just crazy rollback through that the consolation rounds. Just felt great for him seeing him get it on the podium.
I'm hearing whispers that somewhere in Florida they're gonna have another match. So him and Gautier are gonna have another match. I'm hearing. I don't remember if it was at Kings and Queens. No, no, because they're both 1A, so they'd be on the same team there. But
Well, Caleb's a 3A.
I mean
Palm Harbor
3A.
University is 3A.
Yeah, sorry, 3A, and I think that I've heard that that's a matchup that we might see. I don't know if it's Kings and Queens or somebody's putting on some. I've been seeing some things about a private little tournament going on in the state, and it'd be interesting. It's cool
With
to
some
see.
cash money on the line.
Yeah, cash money on the line. Winner gets money, loser gets money, but not as much. But yeah, it's cool to see that there's a lot of people coming out and trying to do that in our state because it's good. And I think as RAF grows, hopefully we'll see little small promotions pop up like what the UFC did, and now I think then you know, the landscape just gets bigger and larger for wrestlers as they come out of school or finish college, or they get opportunities to go out and make some money other than their career. I mean,
Yeah. I don't know if you guys said it. I want to make sure that give a shout out to Caleb Johns and Luis Jimenez, who also
Yes.
made
Also
the
made the
podium
podium.
for the state of Florida. State of Georgia had two champs. Um, and this is where, I mean, they're both Mills boys, not surprising, to Quavius Mills and Antonio Mills. And I want to make sure that I talk about this last thing as it relates to NHSCA. So I'm going to pause for a second. Aaron Campbell, Wisdom, Ahenecho, Casey McGilligot, Dane Croct, Xander Dossett also made the podium for the state of Georgia. I'm trying to think. Alabama had a couple. I think John Stewart and Bradley Williams both made the podium for the state of Alabama. North Carolina, obviously Bentley Sly that Dan already mentioned, and a few others for North Carolina. South Carolina, I think, had a champ. Is that right? Um, Landon Jackson, yeah, from trying to remember where exactly he goes to school. He is a stud. I was very impressed with watching him wrestle. Landon is a big strong kid who definitely has a lot of potential. But to end the NHSCA's, in my opinion, you have to talk about the Mills versus Urachuk
Oh
final
my goodness, yes.
because I mean the truth is you rarely have four-time NHSCA champions, not because more people couldn't win four, but they don't have a tendency to come back and those sorts of things. The fact that you had two three-timers come back, decide to, you know what, let's run it back again one last time in high school in the same division or in the same weight class. Antonio Mills, JoJo Orchuk both dominated their sides of the bracket. And if you had a marquee main event
Hmm.
matchup, that would have been it. You would have put all the lights down and rocked those two out. That's not how they do it in NHSCA's, but that's what
They
you would
don't.
have done.
They're just going on just like everyone else. But
That's
man,
right. They were wrestling right next to like the little kids
yeah.
over here.
But it
um,
ended up being it was a must see match, and it lived up to the hype.
It did. It did. And I'll tell you what, both of them are going to be unbelievable college wrestlers. I really believe it. If they can, if you, college wrestling isn't simply about being great on the mat. It's managing your life and managing classes and all these different things and everything else. And there's a lot of reasons why people are successful or not. But these two individuals definitely have the ability to do extremely well at the next level if that all works out for them. Anyway, all right.
where's
So that
Urachuk? I
is,
know, I know where Mills is going. Where's Urachuk going?
I believe JoJo's going to West Point.
Nice. So West Point and Ohio State in the NHSCA finals.
Yeah, let me look that up just to be sure. But as I do that, yeah, he's committed to wrestle at Army West Point.
So
So, Brant, how much does NHACA play a role compared to say um I don't know if this is true, but I'm just going to throw this out to you, right? Because we're talking about your way too early rankings, and
Yes,
it is way too early, but it's okay.
it is way too
Um,
early.
um, say Vlad Tchaikovsky, right?
Hmm.
So he took fourth at NHCA's. He wasn't a state champ. I don't know if the state champ who beat him
State
or
champ is returning, so
is returning.
yeah,
Okay, so and maybe didn't participate in
he did not
NHSCA's.
participate in NHSAs.
So
There,
how do you kind of parse that out?
there's there's very little change that comes from the NHSCA's, unless there's some head to heads. Obviously, if we would have had 100 repeat in the finals in the 100 or anything there,
Perez
um,
and Marin.
but we're just off the state tournament, and to me, um, I love the NHSCA's. I love seeing Florida do well there, but to me, the rankings are based around the high school season, and everybody peaks for the state tournament. Not everybody continues on right away into NHSCA's. So while it does put people on my radar maybe. The kid from Citrus doing really well, and obviously the Cooper City girl at 100. Um, it's still based on what just happened, a month ago in Kissimmee. So like you're not going to pass the kid that beat you in the placing match or a head to head just because you maybe had a better weekend here that person wasn't at.
And now moving, so for example, we just got out of the state tournament and then off season is beginning and this is
Yes.
this is the first time you're rolling out new rankings as far as way early rankings.
Way too early rankings, yes.
Now folk season has just officially
Folk
ended.
season is kind of end.
Going
Free,
into freestyle, you're gonna get, we have 3 or 4 TOFs that are gonna go on for the next
hmm
8 weeks. We have Father Divine that's gonna go on, and we have the Fawa State that's gonna go on. So all freestyle events,
Yes.
and you're gonna get emails, you're gonna get text messages that he beat him in folk style, but he beat him in freestyle. How is
Right.
freestyle going to affect how you
It's
look at this moving forward?
I look at freestyle results. If there is a matchup between two wrestlers that did not face off in the folk style season, and maybe I haven't been able to distinguish between the two. Obviously, a win in freestyle counts for something. Um, if you win, I know the difference. I
Does a
mean,
win in Greco count for something?
I was just gonna say, I was just about to say that freestyle, which I don't know as well as you guys do, and I keep saying this is the year I'm gonna um learn it. There are some similarities, but it's not the same. But I certainly note them down and I mark them in my notes. And then if it comes down to a question of I can't if I can't distinguish in folk style between the two, um, then maybe the freestyle places into that, but it doesn't supersede. I mean, they're high school rankings. I don't do separate. I don't know how many of the national rankings are. I know there's at least one national rankings where they actually do freestyle rankings different from folk style. Can't do that in Florida because not everybody does freestyle. Not
Mhm.
everybody is wrestling year round. Um, there are spring sports. There are, king in Florida is football. I know a lot of these guys play football.
Right.
So they're not able to do freestyle. So it's something I take a look at. It sometimes plays into moving rankings. Um, Obviously, you're able to like we were thinking of last year, heading into this year, and some of the girls that did really well at Fargo. Well, that certainly starts to tell me, well, maybe they should be higher because they're obviously changing and getting better, and they've been wrestling during the off season. So it does play into that, but um, it's almost like a case by case basis on if it actually affects
In
the
the off
ranking.
season, obviously they're out there getting better and they're beating girls maybe they lost to during the season as they get better because
Yes.
sometimes some people got to here and they won the state tournament or they placed at states, but they stopped really growing and these people are working and they've kind of surpassed them. But if that's the case, when they get back to folk style, you're going to see that. They're going to get that shot and
Yeah.
they're going to be able to prove themselves. But yeah, I'm sure because I hear it all the time when your rankings come out during the summer or during the off season is well, I can't believe that girl's here or that boy's here. I mean, yeah, he lost to him in October, but he just beat him in the
Yeah.
freestyle monkey open at the little tournament in Central Florida somewhere. But
there are people that reach out to me that, and I will just say I look at every result that I can in the off season, um, between now and June, because like June you get um what used to be the Disney Jewels. That's a folk style event that usually shakes things up, and then um September Super 32 early entry is something that shakes things up usually, and you start seeing new weights. Um, but I look at all those. I look at all the freestyle results and I mark them all. And I notice the Greco ones too, which don't really change rankings. But if I see a kid doing really well in Greco, then it's a different style, but it's something obviously to keep an eye on, and it shows work's being done. I mean, rankings are not a pure science at any point. They certainly are not a pure science between April and June or April and July. Um,
Right.
it's just hard to tell what everybody's doing. I keep them up. I do update them every week. A lot of kids will start telling me um,
What weight they're gonna
what
go?
weight they're going to be.
Yeah.
Some coaches, I mean, I've had coaches already reach out and give me like a broad overview of what they see their lineup being next year. We're probably a month or two away where I'll start hearing some transfers. Um, so those kind of things affect rankings also. And there are folk style events. It's not just freestyle for everyone. There are folk style, any folk style event in the off season, gets into the mix. But it's one of those things though, and I always talk about. Um, I won't do kid rankings ever because I'm against kids rankings because I want kids to just be wrestling and enjoying it. And some of the summer events I think are that too. And it's hard to say who's trying new stuff in the summer, who's just going out to, y- you know, going to a tournament and say, I'm just going to try this move this weekend. I'm just going to try this style. And maybe they don't beat someone that weekend. Some nondescript tournament, in mid-May. So maybe they lose to someone that they beat before, and I have to kind of keep those in consideration
It should
too.
be high
I'd imagine
stakes.
you're cleaning out all the seniors too.
Oh, seniors are already gone. If you, yeah, seniors, sorry, but yeah, they're not in any of the rankings.
Well, that's
I
good.
mean, it's a tough. I like the content. I want to keep the content. It helps me stay, kind of keep alert of what's going on. And like I said, people reach out to me consistently. Hey, I'm gonna weigh 150 this year. Or, oh, I was up at 65 this year, but I'm really a 57. But there was a starter there, so I get a lot of that. And you'll see kids moving. We're gonna have a huge. I mean, not huge, but we'll have a change when reclassification comes out. And like when Matter Lakes goes up to 2A, that's going to like obviously change things. So there's some watermark moments where there'll be big changes, but throughout the summer it's just minor stuff here and
Well,
there.
I think that because you don't do enough, I think you should add like freestyle rankings to the Kabra
I will write stuff when they go to Fargo and I have your beautiful pictures to use and Florida wrestlers do well there. I'll write stories about them and such. Yes. But I mean,
As
and you guys know this, and you know this as being um, so ingrained in it, Dan and Jason. You know it from being a coach. Every program has different um, goals
yeah.
and ideas of what the summer should look like or what the spring should look like.
Well, sometimes
And
it's about building team
yeah,
cohesiveness, and
and
that's why
there,
you go to duels,
yeah,
all over the place and everything else. That's what Camden does. They do it a lot. That's why they go down to Disney duels,
And,
yeah.
because they do it as a team.
and there's some coaches that they don't believe freestyle Greco needs to be done in the off season. They
I mean,
focus the
I
kids
know
on
I've mentioned it was a lot.
better for.
Lake Highlands a newly converted freestyle Greco place. I mean, in the scale of things.
In the
Yeah.
scale, yeah.
And so yeah, I want to keep the kids' names out there. They still check it every week. It's still fun, um, but it's tough to tell who is doing what. And there'll be programs that don't do a lot, and but they're working out every week, and they may not be in any big tournaments, and they're going to come out in September, and you're going to be like, whoa. You're gonna have like kids from some program that
Right.
region qualifiers are now placing top four at Super 32 early entry. So it's a matter of just trying to follow it all and keep connected to the kids and the sport as it morphs into what next year will be.
Well, as we wrap up this week's
And you like how I just casually pointed out that Matter Lakes is going 2A?
yeah. Well, I mean, I fear it's not official yet as
It's
far
not
as all
official,
the
but the numbers
right.
make it seem like that is going to
And do
happen
we have an idea
almost
of when that's going to drop as far as a reclass?
any time between now and September.
Well, okay, thanks. That's really helpful there,
I'm
Brand.
telling you, I'll ask, and Corey be like, we're working on it. I was told one year they were going to come out in May, and they came out in October. They'll be out.
Man,
They
what
get
a
Yeah.
football out
Well,
state.
and
right
as soon
away.
as
Like
they do, we will all get together and certainly talk about that
we'll
because that'll
definitely
be
talk
huge.
about it, and there will
What
be
a
some
state
changes
tournament that's going to be, huh?
if that happens. That 2A is.
Wow.
Holy
But yeah,
smokes.
you can look at the and listen. There's some experts out there, and they've done their work, and they've got their spreadsheets, and I love looking at them. But they don't mean anything until it's final, and until everything's cleared, and if there's any appeals. Or I don't even know if they do appeals anymore.
Could we see
Um,
any team go down back to 1A?
well, you'd have to have someone go down to make room for the teams going up.
Mhm.
Um, I'm
All right.
told I haven't looked at them, but I'm told Matter Lakes' number is such where they're almost a guarantee to be into it.
All right. So as we wrap up this week, you guys will have to check back next week to see if we've got the new classifications.
Right.
We will not
Um,
have the new classifications. They will not have the new classifications next week. They will come
um,
out in the summer, but we can
Big
dream.
weekend in Washington, Spokane. The Women's Nationals is such an absolutely great event. It is the stage setter for what happens this summer, what happens this fall for not only your elite level wrestlers, but also your age group elite level wrestlers who will, get an opportunity to go to like Pan Am's or they'll get an opportunity to go to different places and everything else. So pay attention to the women's nationals this weekend up in Spokane. It's going to be a fantastic event. And then my last thing that I want to talk about real quick before we jump off is a shout out. I've been looking for this for state of Alabama and state of Georgia. I haven't been able to find it, but I know in the state of Florida that they dropped the team GPAs
Yes.
and Haggerty with a 3.55, Ponte Vedra with a 3.55 in 2A, Pinecrest with a 3.66 in 1A, and Bishop Verot with a 3.80 in girls had the highest team GPAs for wrestling. That is a fantastic accomplishment. You are student athletes, and I think that is in my opinion, your long-term success is as important of a thing as anything you do on the mat. So
Can you read the four lowest too?
I am not going to read the four lowest.
I don't know they list them all the way down. I think
Let's
they
see.
only.
Dan Ward with a 1.16.
Thank you very much.
I mean, and just the thing, Haggerty was, what, top three team on
Yes.
the mat and top in the GPA. Just fantastic.
That is a fantastic thing. Obviously, Scotty is doing a fantastic job with the Haggerty program, and that is awesome.
And I don't know if maybe they don't include Scotty's GPA when he was in school. I don't know how good it was. It may have been great. Um,
No, I mean honestly, the team as a whole at Haggerty is
and really, if you look at them, really, there's it's cool. I've seen pictures of it. I haven't looked at them too deep. Like the top 10, top 15 teams, they're all
super
in
close.
each classification. They have really great GPAs, and you're talking about like the entire team's GPAs go into this. And I mean, we know how hard wrestling is to begin with, and then they're also still making it in the classroom. It's fantastic.
Well, and I don't know who all gets counted, but I'll tell you what, if they're counting every Haggerty kid, that's a lot of
That's a
kids
lot of
because they
kids.
have a huge program. So that's pretty impressive to have an average of 3.55 over a
And
large group of
where
kids.
can people find these at?
They can find them on the FHSAA website. But I actually am going to write a post this week about each one, talking about the different teams, what Brand actually just alluded to, which is their relationship between success on the mat and success in the classroom, and that sort of thing. And that's not to say anything about the teams that
Right.
weren't as successful on the mat. This is focused on the GPA. But if you go to the FHSAA website, you can kind of see what these are. And I think anytime, I mean, we talk a lot about wrestling accolades, and that's great. We should also be talking about your ability to get it done in the classroom
Yep.
and everything else. So
Putting a student and student athlete.
absolutely. All right, gentlemen.
Yes. It's good to see you guys again.
Same.
It's awesome. Peace.